I, 24F, am currently 33 weeks pregnant with his 31 male baby. When I was 20 weeks pregnant, my doctor diagnosed me with placenta previa, which, if you don't know, is basically when the placenta for my baby is covering the opening in my cervix. They told me it would likely move as my baby grew, but it never did. So I am scheduled for a C-section in just 3 weeks. At 20 weeks I was put on very light restrictions, but at 30 I got put on heavier restrictions, like no running, no lifting or climbing, no standing for longer than 3 hours at a time, and most importantly no sex and no vaginal exams. Because my doctor told me that we want absolutely nothing to potentially make me bleed, which could lead to preterm birth. So I have been doing this all for 3 weeks, but it has been driving my husband fucking insane. Every single day he bothers me for sex. Every single day. Every single day I tell him I can't, and remind him of the restrictions. I don't even want to have sex anyway, my tummy is so big and I am always exhausted. He doesn't really like those answers. Finally he came to me and started going on about how doctors sometimes dramatize things for the sake of their careers and more money. He said they push for C-sections. I was like, okay, whatever, but I know that I have this condition. Obviously I'm going to follow the rules. He didn't take the answer and we ended up having sex. For a few hours after, I was having really heavy bleeding and I got so scared. I was crying in the bathroom, trying to figure out what to do. I ended up calling my doctor and she told me to come in right away. The whole car ride there I was just sobbing, imagining that in an hour I would be having a C-section for an only 33-week-old baby. We quickly figured out that I am not in preterm labor, I was just bleeding and as long as it stops it will be okay. It did, and I am fine. But while I was there, my drive asked my husband to leave and started asking me questions. She asked me if I did anything I wasn't supposed to do. She was like, this isn't accusatory, it's okay, it's just better to know if it was caused by something or random. I told her that I had sex. She just went over all the things again and then gave me a bunch of information on domestic violence. She put them in my purse for me, literally. I was so embarrassed. When we got into the car I broke down and yelled at my husband, telling him to never do that to me again and telling him that my doctor knows more than him and knows what is best for me and the baby. He apologized and I could tell he really meant it. I have still been holding a grudge for days and he's been groveling for days. He asked me how long I was going to make him apologize. I told him at least until the baby is born. Update 1. I posted this about 7 hours ago and I cannot believe how many people have responded. I don't know if I could ever say thank you enough to such thoughtful strangers on the internet. So originally my plan was to tell my doctor and my SIL, maybe my brother, but I wasn't looking forward to discussing those details with him. I rescheduled my weekly appointment with my doctor for TMR. I know some people said I would be able to just walk in, but I didn't want to do it and then have make some excuse to my husband. The comments made me realize the severity of the situation and honestly I am terrified. So I called my SIL when she got off work and we had a really long conversation. I mentioned in the comments, but my SIL and brother have never really liked my husband, especially my SIL. She was very supportive and kind and we talked for a long time. I guess I can admit now that it wasn't just sex, it was rape. We talked about that more than anything else. And she cleared the whole confusion thing up very quickly. I told her a lot of the things my mom excused because she likes my husband, and my SIL was livid. I guess I kinda knew she always would be, which is why I never told her. She ended up telling me to talk to my doctor and she will talk to my brother and we will see what's going on. She said she will come down on the soonest flight, but my brother cannot come yet because they do have children of their own. I was content with that though, and my appointment with my doctor is tomorrow. So my husband got home kinda early and saw how I was upset. I really was planning on getting myself together before he came home, but I did not have time. Still, I was not going to tell him anything, but he was being so kind, which he really usually is. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true, but today especially he was so kind and so worried about me. I know it was stupid to explain the situation, but I did. I don't know why. I'm just used to telling him my problems, I guess. It was a mistake and I know that. I am really trying not to be so stupid anymore, but it's hard to switch from thinking about him as my loving and caring husband to my husband who is hurting me. So I told him that, and how he hurt me, and honestly I'm scared now. He was like, what? How? I said by forcing me to have sex, by literally forcing my legs apart and telling me to calm down. He was like, oh my fucking god, Lily, don't fucking say that. That's a crime, do you understand that? Do you understand you just accused me of martial rape? And pushed me away from him. I started to apologize, and he started to say it was okay and do that thing where he acts like I'm dumb again. So I finally like, yeah, actually, I really do understand that now. It isn't right and it is martial rape. It resulted in a huge argument, once again. He called me an idiot for even daring to say those words. I called him an abuser and he literally laughed. He was like, who are you talking to? You don't know what you're talking about, and started to go on and on about things I don't know about. He said sex with his wife isn't rape, no matter how you split it. I ended up trying to just walk away, but he grabbed me by my wrist. I snatched my hand away and he held up his hands, was like, oh I'm sorry, that might be considered battery of a pregnant woman, if we're going by your definitions. The condescending tone is what really drove me to the edge, and I told him I don't want to be around him. He was like, fine, I'll go. I said no, I want to go. I want to be away from you. He threw the credit card at me and told me to go get a hotel then. So I did. And here I am, typing this now. And my Sil is on her way right now, but I am so far from okay. He's called me several times but I won't answer. I've never seen him that angry before. I am slightly concerned what he will do if I genuinely tell him I want to leave and take the baby. He is the one who wanted to have a child, and I was convinced. It won't let me take her easily and that terrifies me. Every time my daughter kicks I just want to sob. I never thought that my own baby would make me cry like this. But I am just so scared. Best of luck to you. Update 2. It is his card, but I told the hotel what was going on and they seem to understand. My Sil will be here soon, so it's just tonight I'll be alone. Oop, I am already doing this. I want to have my daughter in my home state, but I am not sure how that works, and I am scared to do something wrong and give my husband leverage to take her. I am really trying my best. I only have less than 3 weeks to get somewhere and I'm just stressed and scared. I also know he never allow me to have the baby or C-section on my own. He will be there. And I just don't know how to deal with that. Oop, I can't. But the drive back to home state is about 20 hours. This one is quick, and for the people who wanted me to verify that I am okay. 3. I genuinely don't know what to say about the amount of support I got. Thank you so very much. August 7th I posted my update, and I mentioned having Braxton Hicks for the first time. I was urged to go to the hospital. I originally wasn't going to, but thank goodness that I did, because by the time I walked in the door, I was bleeding so heavily it was down my legs. Turns out I had a placental abruption. August 7th at 10:37 p.m., my daughter was born via emergency C-section. She is now only less than old as I post this, but I am being forced to deal with an attorney and all of this already. She was only 33 weeks and 5 days when she was born. She is tiny, but still doing relatively well, so they tell me. She is in the NICU now and I am in the hospital still as well. I have received lots of care, and while it is all scary and hard, seeing my daughter makes it better. I'm fine, I will be fine, and so will she. The nurses here are amazing, and the doctor told me as long as everything goes well, I get to take my daughter home in just a few weeks. 3. As for my situation, my Sil came shortly after my daughter was born and she's been by my side all day and very supportive. The attorney advised us to allow my husband visitation with my daughter while she is still in the NICU, so I did. I do not have a concern of him hurting our daughter while in the hospital or anything like that. I have received lots of supportive messages from his coworkers and his side of the family, so I am sure he is spinning the story that we are together and everything is fine. He is trying to act like that too. He's seen our daughter several times today, and I think that he was in the hospital with me during the C-section, but I am honestly not sure. He came up to my room this morning while the nurses were helping me take that first walk after the C-section. I was just emotional enough to let him in. I have to be honest and say it wasn't easy to try and hate him after all of this. I still let him comfort me and I still cried to him. But at the end, when he said you wouldn't have had to do this alone if you weren't acting that way, and grabbed my face to make me kiss him, it reminded me of why exactly I am doing this. So yeah, I am not so sure what I'm going to do. Originally I really wanted to have my daughter in my home state so that I could stay there with her and my Sil and brother, but I highly doubt my husband will allow me to take her there. My attorney says I have options, and the options are heavily in my favor, as I did what you all suggested and got the medical records of the rapes, including the one I posted about and 2 more I went to the hospital for over the years, as well as in writing my doctor saying that my placental abruption was likely caused by trauma and stress, for custody and stuff like that, but likely only here where we currently live. Honestly, that's okay. Being able to briefly hold my baby and seeing her and loving her so much has replaced much else in my mind. I want to be safe, but I want her safe most of all. I won't do anything to put her in the situation I was in. She is only 16 hours old and she is all I think about, and will ever think about for the rest of my life. I probably won't update again, as I am hoping they will let me spend more time with my daughter soon, but I just wanted to say that this whole post literally changed my life, and I cannot say thank you enough. If anyone else finds themselves in this sort of situation, I want to say do not be scared to speak up. And if anyone has survived it, you're so brave. Thank you. 3. Oop, there were a lot of other times. 3. I went to the hospital for, including the one I posted about. I was just scared and confused and not well informed. Oop, yes. I genuinely will never allow her around him alone ever again if I can help it. I'm in healthcare and babies are my area of expertise, so feel free to DM day or night if you have any questions. Best of luck. Oop, I already have Smile. We have a whole plan already for when she gets out of the NICU. Also, I saw people really worried about me because of finances and stuff, but I'm going to be okay. I actually still do a job. I was just on leave because of the baby, and a stable career and actually quite a bit of savings. I never let him take that from me. Or her. He raped you and caused you to need a C-section to save your baby up. Read that sentence again in case you feel he deserves another chance, because I got angry fucking writing it. Now on to second story. Boyfriend stopped initiating sex after my thrush ordeal, leaving me feeling lonely and wondering how to reignite our intimacy. I, 24F, and my boyfriend 23 male have been dating for nearly 2 years. I'll skip the unnecessary details about our relationship, but we have a very solid one. We live together and have only really argued once in our entire relationship. However, there is a problem. A little over a year ago I developed thrush. For those of you who don't know, it's basically where a woman's vagina becomes very fragile and she is prone to tearing / blistering / small cuts. It itches a little, too. My God, was that horrific. I was on and off trying different creams, but I was so stupid because my sex drive was incredibly high. My boyfriend, I'll call him Dave for the sake of this post, also had a high sex drive. We're talking boners every day, multiple times a day, maybe up to 8 to 12 times a day depending on what we were up to. We would have sex twice a day, every day for a little over a year. I was vocal about my thrush and there were times where I thought it would go away, so I gave myself the green light and we went at it. To anyone reading this, if you or your partner have thrush, please wait at least a week until symptoms end until you have sex again. Please. Because man, it isn't worth it. Every time we had sex, something down there would tear. Thank God he didn't contract it, but I would yelp in pain and I'd have to clean up blood from our bedsheets. It was hell. After around 2 months of me thinking I healed, us trying again, and then me ripping seconds after penetration, he stopped initiating. I totally understand why. It took me about a month and a half of no sex to heal from thrush. I told him that I officially was healed, and he said that he was happy I was okay. However, he wouldn't initiate anything. So I did. I tried everything in the book. I dressed up. I tried dirty talking him. Strutting around naked. You name it, I tried it. Now, our physical affection wasn't affected. We would cuddle for hours, still. It was our sexual affection that ended. After about 3 months of this, I decided to confront him. I asked him what was wrong, and what I could do to make him attracted to me again. After a very long pause, he said that he was still attracted to me. He was just scared of hurting me again. I suggested that we could start slow, maybe just blowjobs, fingering, doing finger stuff, whatever. He agreed, saying that he would like to try it out. A few weeks passed and I tried initiating to no avail. Every time I would try, he'd just kiss me on my forehead and hug me, saying "aw." All followed by cradling me along with more pecks on my forehead, cheek, and lips. Now, this is very cute, but after getting rejected time and time again, it began to hurt. It's been 3 months since then. Recently I brought it up. I didn't want him to think all I wanted in a relationship was sex, so I didn't talk to him about it sooner. But I realized it was taking a toll on my mental health, so I thought it would be best to communicate how I felt. I told him exactly this, and I asked why he wasn't horny around me anymore. He said I don't know. But I'll find out what's going on eventually. And that was the end of the conversation. He recently took a blood test and everything was fine. All of his levels were perfectly normal / healthy. He rides his bike 3 to 5 kilometers daily and has a decent social life. Not a lot of drinking, either. He jacks off maybe twice a week, which is completely fine with me. He doesn't watch porn. At least, if he does, it'll be a once or twice a month then. Gee, another thing to note is that I haven't gained or lost any weight since our relationship started, so I don't think it's anything like /that/. Recently I've been feeling so lonely. No, I will absolutely not cheat on him or seek attention elsewhere. But I feel like less of a woman. I have to go lock myself in the bathroom and turn the bath water on to bawl my eyes out while he's in the other room. I don't want him to see me like this. It's like we're roommates who cuddle, kiss, and have deep conversations. He used to get boners just looking at my clothed body. What changed? I asked if he possibly was traumatized from my thrush. Am all good down there now? And he said he wasn't. I don't want to be a controlling girlfriend and tell him he has to have sex with me. Small update, while this is getting attention, sorry it couldn't be a more interesting post, but I've gotten some lovely advice. I am going to assume that he's traumatized but in denial, so a lot of patience is needed for this. I decided that I will slowly show him that nothing is wrong by, gosh, sorry for the TMI, presenting myself to him with a dildo inside. Obviously I won't just drop my pants when he gets home from work, lol. But I'll slowly ease him into watching and see what happens from there. Another update, thank you for the responses. I've gotten some interesting advice from all of you. It varies from, tell him you are thinking about cheating, to Heskay to he's been seeing someone else, to go to couples therapy, and if the above doesn't work, I believe I will suggest going to couples therapy. I forgot to add that I have vaginismus. I'm a total catch, aren't I? And that may have led to thrush / my yeast infection. I will absolutely not cheat on him or threaten him with a breakup. However, I will mention very verbally, but kindly, of course, that this is making me sad. So much so that it plagues my mind every day, and I'll even mention to him the whole crying in bathroom thing as much as I do want to. I am on vacation for another 25 days, so I won't have an update until then. Update 1. I, 25F, returned from my trip abroad after leaving for 1 month. It was very hot in the city we live in together, and it is uncommon to have an AC in this country, Germany. So, I decided to purchase a fan. Now, that was a whole situation on its own, and I even posted it on my profile here nearly a month ago. Long story short, my boyfriend, 24M, was feeling uncomfortable about me getting a fan. I promise this ties into my update, and was so upset about it, that when the fan arrived he was visibly upset and went as far as walking out of the room without speaking to me for a few hours. He later came into my room on hour 3, after I made a Reddit post about my confusion about the fan, and told me that we needed to talk. He said he needed until tomorrow to explain himself, though. So I waited. He sat me down the next day and began with the weirdest thing. I don't get excited about things you get excited about. What? For instance, the fan. I don't. I'm not excited about it. I told him that I would be more than happy to move the fan into the living room, where I could sleep on the guest bed during warm nights. He shook his head and told me it wasn't about the fan, and he didn't know why he brought that up. He paused for a long while and began to tell me what was going on with him. And no, it wasn't what anyone suspected. A bit of important background: when we first started dating 2 years ago, on the third date I told him that I wanted children in the future, and I only wanted to be with him if we could be together for the long term. He was happy that I wanted children. I then told him that it was not my wish to be pregnant. I wanted to adopt kids, or if his bloodline was important to him, I would consider surrogacy. He said he was okay with this. Well, months passed. 2 years passed. Apparently, this whole time, he hasn't been intimate with me because he wanted us to have a real family where I would get pregnant. At the moment, I am 25 years old and I don't even want to think about pregnancy. He is 24. Here in Germany it is very uncommon to have children at a young age, and we both agreed that we wanted kids when we're anywhere between 30 to 35 years old. So this took me by surprise. I simply cannot fathom how you don't want to have sex with your partner because you dislike the idea of adopting children with them in the far future. He says he felt guilty for feeling this way, and was trying to come to terms with it. He kept on trying to get over this feeling and hoped that it would pass, but every time I brought up our future he shut himself down. I noticed that he was much more hesitant to talk about the future, to fantasize about where we would live, what we would name our kids, what our day-to-day lifestyle would be, so I stopped pestering him about it. I heard that Germans like to take things slow, and I didn't want him to think I was rushing him. But I should have brought it up more. I know I should have. I kept on convincing myself that I was being too clingy and pushy about our future together, so I was able to simply stop asking about it altogether. We immediately decided to split up, and I decided to move out because moving stresses him out, and he had a huge exam coming up that he needed to focus on. Luckily I found an apartment. It's sadly very expensive, so I'm now trying to find a roommate, which has been very stressful. Between the breakup, searching for a new roommate, moving, and working, I'm going crazy. I want him back. We spoke about getting back together, but he said something along the lines of, "I don't know. I love you. But I guess if I really loved you enough, I would have stuck with you through anything. And I didn't." What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I'm still making that mistake by not trying to work things out. But maybe this is the right decision. No op. I wish you would have told me that your mom suffered from many miscarriages before having you. Maybe that would have changed my mind. But I made up my mind at the time and it looks like I have to stick with it. Or not? I don't know. I know I should have told him about the whole my mom had like 10 miscarriages before having a baby, but I didn't think that was important as I have many reasons for not wanting to get pregnant. It just isn't my thing. And you know, if he did love me like he always told me he did, he would stick with me through this. But he isn't. That's my answer. I don't want to accept it, but that's just how it is. You know the saying, if he wanted to, he would. Well, I'm a true believer in that. He's been crying daily, and while I do appreciate him helping me move out of our apartment, it keeps giving me false hope when he comes over to set something up for my new place. I keep thinking, oh, he'll come around, except he doesn't. It's only been 3 weeks, but he seems so incredibly lost and hurt over this that it isn't worth it for me to give this a second thought. I am utterly heartbroken. I wish we could have talked this out rather than jumping to a breakup solution, but I don't have any answers to this problem. I know better than to wait for him to come back to me, but my God, my mind is telling me to do so. Life has become much more complicated and I don't even know if I want to live in this city. I'm so defeated right now. All of our friends and family members have told us that there has to be more to his story. There has to be another reason as to why he doesn't want to mend things. But I've asked over and over again and he said it was this single bump, for lack of a better word. I thought, aside from our lack of sex, that our relationship was perfect.